for stunning location, iconic battles throughout the ages, and the sound of motorsports echoing through the grandstands, there's not many more sweeter settings for a race than a Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya. With 8 rights and 6 lefts, each of the 14 corners offer up a unique and rewarding challenge for rider and machine. For 32 years, the hills of Montmello have been graced with a singing choir of both cars and bikes, and where icons have been born and names etched into history. Who will write their name in the Barcelona sand and go on to write their own history as Moto2 takes centre stage here in Barcelona over the next 16 laps. Well, the sun is still shining across Barcelona, even though some of the clouds are trying their hardest to rain on our parade. But for now, ahead of Moto2, race number 2, it's myself, Liam Hodgins, and Chris Jordan taking you through the action here today as Moto2 prepares for one more blockbuster battle here in Barcelona. Can it be the returning Dani Munoz to the, I was getting distracted there by Chris just breaking his headphones, so I hope you're all there and good now, Chris, with that one. Almost a disaster there to start off Moto2 proceedings. But Dani Munoz, your rider, on a charge at the moment after, well, his dominant performance, as we're going to see here in race number 1 earlier on today. So he got the whole shot from P4 in the grid, but it was Jorge Navarro on the number 11 forward machine that took the whole shot to turn number 1, followed by Munoz, Garcia, and of course Alberto Sura. But at the end of the opening couple of laps, Munoz took the advantage and swept into the lead at turn number 1 with Garcia hot in pursuit. The 4 of Eric Fernandez, he would run into some technical troubles and he was out for the time, or for race number 1 action, as Garcia powered past Jorge Navarro in the opening couple of laps, but it would be Navarro that had a small look up the inside but couldn't make it stick. As Harrison Voigt, he crashed out at turn at number 4, thankfully able to walk away, but it was the top 3 that were able to get away. But this move by Garcia sat up Munoz. A bit of furiosity coming from Munoz afterwards with that one. But through abreast into turn number 1, it was Navarro that slotted Munoz down into 3rd. So it looked like for the time being it would be Dani Munoz that'd be out of the fight, with the top 2 pulling away. The 30 there of De Frattori, he crashed out at turn 5, but once more it would be the forward racing machine of Navarro taking the lead. After a mistake the previous lap, he was able to hold it this time round, but this move here from Garcia almost took himself and Navarro out of proceedings as a team looked on. Munoz, he swept through at turn 11 to take the lead, cutting a tight line. As further back, it would be Navarro that took the final podium spot ahead of Garcia, as the Bosco Scudos further behind of Cassidy and Sura fought out. Turn 5 claiming another rider in the proceedings of race 1, and the Bosco Scudos, after a tough start for Cassidy, he fought his way up to 5th, just behind his teammate of Alberto Sura, but no one could lay a glove on Dani Munoz. It was a masterclass from Munoz in race number 1 to take his first Moto2 race win and the 4th different race winner of the year, ahead of Jorge Navarro and Roberto Garcia, your new championship leader. Can anyone stop from Munoz from doing the double in Barcelona? Well, there you have it, Dani Munoz. He is a race winner in Moto2 and only his 4th race in the class. The stock European champion from 1 year ago. He's really asserted his authority on Moto2 here this year. Jorge Navarro and Roberto Garcia, they are another 2 riders to watch out for in race number 2. Those 3 all led away. Bosco Scudo 4, 5, and Cassidy and Sura, they really have to find another gear if they want to challenge for the win or even the podium here today, Chris.
Yeah, finally with you now. We had the yellow flags in the office here in the commentary booth, so apologies about that as my headpiece began to have some technical difficulties. It was in the gravel trap, but yeah, Jorge Navarro then on pole position, out for a little bit of vengeance, would you say, Liam? We bigged him up a lot in the previous race. He did come home in P2, but he was shown a clean pair of heels by the rookie in the class, Dani Munoz.
Yeah, look at that stare off into the distance, as you say there, Chris. Jorge Navarro, a previous winner here in Moto3 World Championship and podium in Moto2 back in 2019. He knows his way around the circuit, does Jorge Navarro, but I don't think he would have seen Dani Munoz come out of nowhere, as we hear some well, more of the tunes, and I'm delighted to say that is a bit of Bon Jovi, and It's My Life playing, so it's, well, Mattia Casadei's life and his championship at the moment. I had to try and throw in some sort of cringe-worthy quote there. It wasn't my best one, but with a bit of Bon Jovi playing in the background, who will be able to rock here in Barcelona? Will it be Casadei or will it be Sura? Can those two in the Bosco Oscuros make any impression on the top three, or will it be, again, Dani Munoz?
Yeah, Mattia Casadei had a bit of a howler getting off the line in race 1. Managed to recover. He was running then in P10, managed to recover to pick up a P5, but was denied 2 crucial championship points by his teammate Alberto Sura for P4, because he is now 2 points behind in the championship lead to this rider, Roberto Garcia. I love it when it all comes together and segues nicely. Love shown from Roberto Garcia. Another sensational performance for him. He was really riding on the ragged edge as his tires wore out about 3/4 of the way through, meaning he had to give up the ghost in his victory hunt, but settled for a comfortable P3. He now takes the championship lead and will be looking to maintain that. He's, what, 3 podiums in 2024? I wouldn't bet against him picking up another. He's really hit a strong run of form. Alberto Sura here then, race winner in the opening race, which you call, Liam, but he hasn't been on the podium since.
No, it's been a tough run of form recently for Alberto Sura. I mean, back in Estoril, it looked like he had, he struggled a bit with qualifying down the field. And Alberto Sura, he'll be hoping to make it his day today and try and at least get on the podium again once more. But he's going to have to maybe displace 1 of 3 or 4 riders, including Dani Munoz, your race winner from race number 1 here today. Look at that, 7th and 9th, a DNF, not too much of a fault of himself in Estoril. But in Catalunya here today, he has been the man to beat, and he will be the one that they will all try and stop. He's got the target on his back now, Chris, so Dani Munoz, can he be the first repeat winner of 2024?
Yeah, as you say, a repeat winner we have not seen in 2024. Dani Munoz, the 4th in 4 races. He'll be looking to do the double, but will we see 5 and 5? Well, you know, you've got Jorge Navarro running at the front. I wouldn't bet against it. Dani Munoz, though, the key to his race last time out, aside from exceptional pace, once he got out front, was a good start. He went from P5 to P2 by the opening corner. As we look at Mongiardo, who closes out row 2.
Yeah, Mongiardo has shown good pace so far this year, as we spoke about in race number 1. Stepped up a gear so far. He's had 3 top 10s in the opening 4 races. It was only the anomaly of 12th position in race 1 back in Estoril that was the anomaly in that one so far here today, as the PA around about the circuit is continuing on with these incredible tunes here today. Unfortunately, not someone has had an incredible day so far as Ferrandis. He must have had a technical trouble. We saw him pulling into the pitch after he went from P7 on the grid all the way outside the points towards 20th position. So Ferrandis, he'll be hoping for a much easier time of things in race number 2 here today.
Yeah, double podium finisher in 2024 is the 16-year-old of the FIM Network team. He's proven he is a big talent. He is very young. He only joined this class at the tail end of last season, or maybe halfway through, and then at the tail end of the season was showing some very, very good form. A couple top 5s or top 6s, if I'm not mistaken, and he's already bettered that for 3 races in with a double podium. 4 races in with 2 podiums, and now we're on to his 5th race, where he'll be looking to get himself back into the podium.
We just saw Kaito Toba there on the promo racing machine. Now they have won 3 out of the last 5 races as a team here in Moto2, with the likes of Senna Aegis and Xavi Cardalus 1 year ago. A bit of a disaster for Toba in race number 1. It looked like it was maybe some technical gremlins that made him pull off the circuit down towards turn number 1. So he'll be looking for a much better ride of things in race 2 here today, as we see Ferrandis. It looks like Eric Ferrandis just maybe getting some of that gunk out of his nose. He's shaving some weight off before the start of the race. He'll be hoping for a much easier and smoother time of things. After race number 1, where he pulled off the track exiting turn number 9, and out of the race he went. Thankfully no crash, so yeah, maybe just a big problem for him. Another rider that was a DNF in race 1 was Harrison Voigt. bit of a disaster for Harrison, who was starting to build his confidence back up over the start of the year. 2 top 10 finishes, including a 7th position back in Estoril. He crashed out of the race early on from the lower reaches of the points into turn number 4. So Harrison Voigt going from P10 on the grid. He'll be hoping for a nice clean run and maybe some points here today.
Yeah, we were only bigging him up at the beginning of the last race, and of course the commentator's curse struck. Managed to get it out eventually, and Voigt will be just looking for another strong point scoring finish here. Mattia Ratto then 12th in the championship, and as you can see, a top 5 in Estoril, by far and away his best result. Hasn't been in the top 10 asides.
Well, Mattia Ratto, I was going to say before his crash in race number 1 earlier today, his only non-point score, DNF, we can maybe call it did not start, back in Misano, because he crashed out on the warm-up lap, and that was the first time he scored no points in a Moto2 race since Valencia 2022. So it's a bit of a shame there for Mattia Ratto, who has been showing great form in the last couple of years. However, it's not been an easy, smooth sail of things so far in 2024. Thumbs up from Brett Roberts, the number 22 from South Africa, the 24-year-old. He picked up a couple of points in race 1 today to add to his 3 points, or 4 points I should say, from race 1 in Misano.
Yeah, good to see another international mix on the grid here. Plenty of countries represented. I haven't done a full count of how many nationalities are represented, but I'll bring that to you next time. So, your grid for the second Moto2 European Championship race here in Barcelona sees Jorge Navarro start on pole position ahead of Mattia Casadei and Roberto Garcia. Alberto Sura leads Dani Munoz and Monjardo on row 2, while it's Ferrandez, Toba and Fernandez on row 3. Then it's Harrison Voigt, Mattia Ratto and 2023 Barcelona race winner Unai Oradre on the 4th, with Brett Roberts, Mattia Volpi and Joan Gimbert on the 5th. Ada, Tapia and Montero then are in the next row back, while completing the grid is Lorenzo Fallon, Di Vittori, Maxwell Toth, Shannon Inter, Charles Aubry and Jin Lead.
So the Moto2 riders get ready for their warm-up lap ahead of race number 2, and as you can see from the background, the heat haze. It's very warm out there today. It was a very cold morning when they had race number 1. However, the heat has really risen through the tarmac, and it'll be giving these riders a hard time of things, as we saw in race number 1, with some riders falling into some tyre problems, and one of them being Roberto Garcia, who finished 3rd on the podium. When I was down doing the interviews at Parc Ferme, we had the Clint Forward Junior team and of course also the Gas Up Racing team mechanics taking pictures of Roberto Garcia's tyre, and you had the Fante Cardoso Racing team mechanics of Roberto Garcia trying to usher away the other team. But it was all fun and games down at Parc Ferme. I'm sure they would have tried to see if Roberto Garcia's tyres were in a much worse wear, but from my own eyes, Chris, they didn't look too bad compared to Munoz's and Navarro's. But I'm no tyre technician.
Can't trust your eyes, Liam.
No, I never
could.
can. I mean, I'm losing them at the tender age of 32. I'm starting to lose my eyesight.
So all set then for another belting race of action here in Barcelona. Moto2 race 1 certainly lived up to expectation. We're certainly hoping that the second race of the afternoon will do so too. As you can see there, scorching temperatures. We saw tyre degradation really come into effect in race 1 in terms of Roberto Garcia's victory challenge. He still came home in P3, but with hotter track temperatures than earlier, will we see us come into effect once again as they come through the 3rd sector, entering into the final sector. This is turn 10. Wonderful overtaking opportunity here, and perhaps maybe the last one. If it comes to a last lap dash, expect turn 10 to be a popular spot to maneuver into the lead. A couple of riders running it a little bit wider as they cruise around the final corners of the final sector.
Yeah, as you're talking about turn 10 there, Chris, we've seen a couple of times already today. It's going to be a do-or-die effort into the final couple of corners. If you can make it stick at turn 10, you're sure on for a best place scenario of you taking the race win. So as we enter race 2, here is the championship standings as they look ahead of this upcoming race. Garcia leads the championship ahead of Casadei by 2 points with Alberto Sura in 3rd. Your early championship leader was Alberto Sura, but he's dropped all the way back to 3rd after some tough races at Estoril and a 4th place here today at race 1. It's good to see the fans have still stuck around for the start of this race, as we will be getting race 2 underway in a moment. The green flag waves in the background. The red flag pulls off to the left-hand side. The red lights will come on any second now. There they are. Revs are rising. Moto2, race 2 in Barcelona underway. Navarro once again with the whole shot, but Munoz from row 2 already got the launch off the line, screaming down towards turn number 1. It's going to be Munoz on the inside. Roberto Garcia in the middle. Later on the brakes, Sura around the outside. He's lost into second potential, and Navarro runs wide. He's dropping back to 3rd, 4th. Almost fifth spot. There was a bit of bumping and boring further back. Casadei's off the track, along with a couple of others as well. So disaster there for Mattia Casadei, but not disaster for his teammate Alberto Sura, the 67, who leads away ahead of Munoz. A bit of O'Leary braking, almost tagging the back of the Bosco Scuro does Munoz. So already these riders are trying to get to the front as quickly as possible, as we're seeing Navarro and Munoz almost tagging the back of other riders, but Munoz retakes second position ahead of Garcia. But for now, the Bosco Scuro of Alberto Sura leads away from Munoz, Garcia, Navarro and Eric Fernandez. He wants a piece of the action here today, as Garcia makes a charge into second, into turn 7. You don't see that too often, but that was a clean as you like overtake from Roberto Garcia, Chris.
Yeah, Mattia Casadei, though, another howler of a start from the line. What is going on with the Team Chiatti Bosco Scuro rider, who was the championship leader coming into this one? Now it's turning into a Sunday salvage job. Not for Alberto Sura on the other side of the box, though, who is charging towards the lead with Garcia in second, and Danny Munoz once again in podium contention.
My word.
As we have Jorge Navarro and Eric Fernandez going there, and Fernandez was out of the seat. We have a rider down. It's one of the Cardoso machines. We'll bring you an update on that when I know who it is. Sorry.
I think it's Mongiardo.
It could be Mongiardo, yeah. We're looking through the timing screens to see which rider had gone down. No name was tumbling. So, as it is, coming over for lap 1, Jorge Navarro had the dream start in race 1, led over the line. He's down in 4th position. It's the dream start for the number 67 of Alberto Sura, who is back on top in the Moto2 class, as a wider ran it wide going into turn 1 there.
Just before that happened there, Chris, I was going to bring your attention to the number 8 of Marco Tapia from disaster starting the grid. He was mired in the pack in race 1. He's already up to 8 spots. So the number 8 in 8th, Marco Tapia on the Yamaha Stylo bike Philippines machine, as we're watching Francesco Mongiardo trying to get that bike restarted again. Valiant effort there, but will we see a move for the lead? No, we'll see a change for second, as once again, just like last lap, Munoz back up the inside. Was that a bit of a shake of the head from Garcia? But as we saw last lap, Garcia late on the brakes. He sets up Munoz, both running deep into the corner. That's going to light up the eyes of Navarro, who runs across the green ever so slightly there, but that's going to be music to the ears of Alberto Sura, who has no idea what's going on behind him, as the yellow flags wave, but a bit of a wobble coming out of turn 9 down towards La Caixa. So the yellow flag is still waving for the crash of Mongiardo 1 lap ago, so no overtaking, as Eric Fernandez has a bit of a wobble into turn 10. Fernandez, he's made a much better start this time round, but we believe his bad start in race 1 might have been down to a technical issue rather than an issue himself. He's just ahead of last year's race 2 winner, Unai Oradri.
So in race 1, we saw a trio of riders break away. Now we've got a front 5. Sura and Eric Fernandez have very much joined the party, as Garcia, Munoz and Navarro were the runaway trio in race 1. Not so much this time around, and just keep an eye of the riders just behind lurking. It's Oradre and Fernandez. Fernandez, a double podium finisher this year. Oradre, a race winner here in 2023. So it is Sura leading. We've got Garcia in second. Munoz has slipped into third, just ahead of Navarro. But it's Eric Fernandez who is the fastest rider on track. A 1:44.2 sees him the fastest rider. We set the fastest lap of the race so far. He's got 2/10 and 3/10 in his pocket over the riders ahead of him.
You don't want to be spinning it up too much through turn 3 already. Fernandez is spinning it up ever so slightly. He's just behind Munoz. He's going for the move on Navarro, sideways into turn 5. It's as you were as the exit turn 5, but Garcia's climbing all over the back of the Bosco Scuro of Alberto Sura, is leading this race brilliantly for the time being, as they flash past our curb cam. Great shot that as they enter turn 7 and exit turn 7 as quick as you like. But for now, we've got a 5-way rider battle for the win. A 10-wheeler at the front with Sura and Fernandez, who's on the back of it, joining the party of the top 3 from race 1. Munoz to the inside, Fernandez to the inside of Navarro, almost tagging the back of the Clint Forward Junior team machine. And this is just opening the eyes up over Radri. Well, Radri, we've not spoken about him at all this year. He won race 2 here 1 year ago. He looks like in the early stages of this race, he could be closing the gap to the top 5 so far. So keep an eye out for Radri. And we've got, that was one of the lights flashing. We had just caught that out of the corner of my eye there. I wasn't quite sure if that was a yellow flag or if it was maybe a slippery surface flag, but we'll have to keep an eye out on that one through turns at 13 and 14.
So then, entering into turn 1 as they come across the line, once again it's Sura who leads. It looked like Munoz might try a little move up the inside, but now he might have to contend with Roberto Garcia, who looked like he wanted one up the inside. But it's as you were as we cross the line. Sura still leading, but failing to shake off the challenge of Munoz and Garcia. We've got yellow flags waving at turns 1 and 2. We'll let you know who went down there as soon as we know. So it's Jorge Navarro in 4th, and Eric Fernandez still just cannot get past the veteran rider. Remember, Navarro's got over 100 appearances on the World Championship stage, 10 Moto2 World Championship appearances. It's Brett Roberts who's gone down. So Fernandez certainly has his hands full with trying to get past Navarro. He just slides down at turns 1 and 2 there, just seemed to have lost the front and went pretty early on him as he took a wider line and into the gravel, and never a pleasant feeling, Liam, is it?
No, not at all. I mean, we've gone through the tumble dryer route there, but I thought since he was hopping away that maybe he got his leg caught underneath the bike, but didn't see anything there. So it's a shame to see Brett Roberts out of this race as we have a change for Liam. Munoz has gone from 3rd to 1st in the blink of an eye, and Jorge Navarro, it's all changed here because he's dropped back to 5th. Fernandez is now in 4th here. So the 2 riders that came from stock last year, Danny Munoz and Eric Fernandez, are showing their chops in race 2. We already know what Danny Munoz could do since he won race number 1. And we've got a rider flashing up as retired. That is Harrison Voigt. He's pulled into the pits at the end of the previous lap. And already Roberto Garcia on the Fantic Racing machine. Oh, Sura on a wobbler out on the curbs there. And Chris, I think you saw that when I was looking at the timing monitor.
Yeah, he ran that one wide and was out of the seat. He's lost 2 positions. He's gone behind Garcia, he's gone behind Fernandez, he's gone behind Navarro, and your race leader 1 lap ago is now running where? In 5th place. So Eric Fernandez is onto the podium. Eric Fernandez has displayed plenty of potential in this class so far this year. He hasn't had luck on his side though. It's looking a little bit better this time around. He leads Jorge Navarro at the moment. He's clearly got better pace than the Clint Ford Racing rider. Sura, he's got Unai Radre now all over his rear wheel. Sura's got to recover, get his head right after. Look at this here. He pulls it wide coming out of the last corner. A wobble going in, another wobble for good measure. Rejoins the race then just behind Navarro from P2 to P5 in the blink of an eye. But back out front, it's Danny Munoz who leads Garcia.
With one Bosco Scuro going backwards in the hands of Sura, one is going forward in the hands of Mattia Cassidy. He was the fastest rider on track last lap. He's in 9th position.
Change for the lead. Garcia capitalizes on Munoz's mistake there. Munoz had a wheel in the air. Sorry to cut across you, Liam.
It's all right. But it looks like Fernandez, he's in the mix here. He's not going for second. He's going for the lead. Fernandez.
We've seen this battle before, haven't we? It's Stock 2023 all over again. Fernandez dives up the inside at turn 10 of Danny Munoz, the race 1 winner. Fernandez, he's drawing inspiration, surely, from Munoz's victory today. Could we have a double rookie winners, both from the stock class in 2023 here in Barcelona today?
That's what the stock class is all about, breeding young talent for Moto2. We saw it on, he's on the green as Fernandez. He's showing that he's got the speed, he's showing he's got the talent, but Munoz, these two were side by side last year. I was watching from the grandstands where you and Tristan were commentating, but Garcia's having none of it. He's around the outside of both of them, and he's putting the stock riders have just moved up to the class this year, back in their place. You think you guys have got it? I've got a little bit more, says Garcia, the 17-year-old, the championship leader. He's back in the front ahead of Munoz and Fernandez, but Fernandez and Munoz are really lighting up this race in race number 2. Fernandez, he saw Munoz take victory in race 1. He wants a piece of that, just to let people know that he's not the forgotten man from the stock graduates last year. As we've got a few more riders chopping and changing further back there, but it's all eyes on the front as Cassidy, he's now a part of this. Fernandez, he's in 8th, top 8. It's a 60-wheeler at the front for victory here with 11 laps to go. This is brilliant Moto2 European action stuff, Chris, and it's only lap 5. Plenty more of it to go.
Yeah, long way to go in this race, and those riders will know it. What, 10 laps remaining, 9.5 or so, or 10.5 I should say, but it's Garcia who's out front. Last time we saw Garcia in the lead in Estoril, he very much bolted out front. Race 1, Fernandez runs a sliding in a speedway style in turn 10. Looked like Navarro might have had the door open, but Fernandez slams it shut. But Garcia, he's used to being out in front in the Moto2 class now. So it's a matter of pace. We'll see what they record coming over the line. There's about 2/10 between.
Oh, someone's down.
Someone's down. It's not the lead group. It's down at 12. It's nobody from the lead group. We'll let you know who it is when we know. But Garcia now about the lead coming over the line. He's got a just under 2/10 advantage over the coming in the last sector. What is his time out? It's reduced. 0.05 of a second. Here comes Dani Munoz now. He eyes up and move into turn 1. Will he get close enough? He's happy to settle in second, while Navarro has actually moved into 3rd position at the expense of Eric Fernandez.
I think the rider we might have heard go through the gravel trap at turn 12 might have been, I was going to say Kaito Toba, but it looks like he might still be going. He was dropping down the timing board initially, and yes, that looks like it's Kaito Toba. So disaster there for the Japanese ex-Moto3 winner. And here we go, this is what happened here. So we heard him coming into, oh, it looked like, was he on the curb momentarily? It looked like he was maybe on the curb going into turn 12, which is a really strange line. However, thankfully it looks like he is up and okay. The air fencing doing its job by stopping rider and bike from going any further. So we know Kaito Toba's got the pace, he just needs to stop making so many mistakes. But he'll be back to fight another day, and fighting at the front still continues with Garcia and Munoz, but Navarro, he's now starting to show. He's starting to cut towards the back of Dani Munoz. Maybe Fernandez, he's dropping back ever so slightly. Sura, he has kept his powder dry, but Radri, last year's race 2 winner, he is now looking to move forward. But look who's lurking in the background on the green, Bosco Scuro, the 40, who came into this round as championship leader, only 2 points behind Garcia. There he is on screen. Mattia Cassidy, after a terrible start, running off at turn 1, rejoining back down in the lower regions of the points, or even just towards the lower regions of the 10s. He's back, he's fighting, and he's in 7th spot right now. And this was what the championship will look like if Cassidy cannot make any further progress and Garcia wins. 18 points it will be, heading towards Portimao in a few weeks' time.
You're calling the Bosco Scuro green?
It is Bosco Scuro green. I don't know what you're getting. I mean, I'm slightly colourblind.
A luminous yellow, but...
A little bit yellow, but mostly...
Here we see Navarro's made a move for lead while we're squabbling over the colour of a Bosco Scuro. A turquoise machine has now moved into the lead.
At least I can tell which one that is. That is turquoise, like the Foggy Patronus in the early 2000s. Lovely looking bike. Here we go, a slow-mo replay, 2 for 1, as clean as you like. We've been seeing that all weekend from Jorge Navarro. And he's so confident on the brakes into turn number 1 on the Clint Forward Junior team machine. And for now, he leads away ahead of Garcia and Munoz. He's now starting to show he wants to move to the front, because he knows that Navarro has the pace to leap away from them if he really should dare.
A familiar sight then as Navarro leads Garcia and Munoz. This is a carbon copy of what we saw in race 1. This trio of riders broke away from the pack, but this time around, and they have opened up a little bit of a gap, but Alberto Sura is very much part of the conversation, as is Unai Oradre, who has disposed of Eric Fernandez, and now he's about to dispose of the debatably green Bosco Scuro machine of Alberto Sura.
The very green Bosco Scuro, but we'll have this discussion after the race is done outside, Chris. But for now, Unai Oradre, he does like this circuit, doesn't he, Oradre? Race winner here last year, as we've already said. And he's now chasing after the top 3 who are now just starting to gap this battle for second. That's about a second and a quarter maybe as they come across the line. We'll watch as they come over to tick off another lap. 8 laps to go. You can cover the top 3 with a black kit, but for that time round, it was Oradre who was setting the same pace as the leaders in front, but Munoz now sweeps to the front, potentially no. He takes second from Garcia once more. It's Jorge Navarro, your race winner here in Moto3 in 2016, continues to lead away on the forward machine. Great ride from Navarro so far as the 2 behind squabble it out. But just remember, like race number 1, it was this moment of the race we started to see Garcia spin the rear ever so slightly through turn 3 and turns 13 and 14. For this time round, he's keeping all wheels in check so far.
Yeah, the front 3 are breaking away. Navarro did actually have about 3/10 in his pocket over the other 2 riders in podium places, while Oradre is very much keeping pace with the podium trio. He's probably noticed that Navarro, Munoz and Garcia have all opened up that gap, and he wanted to get on with it. He wanted to get by Sura and Fernandez as quick as possible so he doesn't lose sight of the riders in front of him. So we're coming through sector 3 now, coming around the right-hander, that is turn 9, onto the back straight. Let's just check the sector times of Oradre. He's got about 1/10 over the riders in front of him. He's keeping pace with Navarro out front. So Oradre is looking to do his best to close a gap as Garcia slides out far there. So Navarro just sets a best sector 3 of the race, but Oradre couldn't keep pace with him that time. He's only keeping pace with the podium, the other 2 on the podium. So Navarro really is heating up the action here.
Danny Munoz is an absolute demon through the last 3 corners of the track. He really leaps away from Roberto Garcia and up to the back of Jorge Navarro. Gets into the slipstream of the forward machine as they power down the straight once again. And Danny Munoz comes out of the slipstream. Oradre, it looks like he has closed in ever so slightly. Munoz sweeps through it, not quite. Navarro cuts the nose off the 17 Gas Up Racing Team machine and keeps the lead, but Unai Oradre that time round was 4/10 of a second faster than Garcia just in front and set the same time as Navarro, but only 1/10 slower than Danny Munoz. So is Garcia now starting to run into tire troubles like he did in race number 1? If he is, that spells disaster for him because the other 4 riders behind are a lot closer than they were in race 1. Look at that, Oradre is looking a lot closer to Garcia this time round.
Yeah, a reminder then that Munoz won race 1, Roberto Garcia won race 2 in Estoril, Oradre a race winner in Catalonia last year, Sura a race winner in Misano this year, but Jorge Navarro, your race leader still to win in this class, the experienced and wily old veteran, is doing a fantastic job out front, setting a wonderful pace. However, last time around, Munoz did set the fastest lap, last time around, Munoz was the fastest rider on track, so he is not letting Navarro get away with this at all. Garcia then, he has just lost a little bit of space to the front 2, while Oradre, we just had a look at some of the times. Garcia has actually responded in sector 3 to open up a bit of a gap over Oradre once again. So coming around into the final corner, Navarro will lead Munoz. We've seen him get into the slipstream more than once here and make move at turn 1. Will he be close enough to do it on Navarro this time? If he is close enough, then it spells then it allows Garcia and Oradre to come back into contention.
Garcia was on the green coming out of the final corner. Don't pay attention to the
Here we go.
monitor.
Here we go.
Navarro losing the lead to Danny Munoz. Then we've got Navarro there tumbling down our order. So I'm guessing it's a transponder issue for your rider in second, the number 11 of Jorge Navarro, because Danny Munoz leads from Navarro. Garcia, he had a massive moment coming out of the final corner and he dropped a few bike lengths even further back. He's now into the clutches of Unai Oradre in the number 10 machine, Alberto Sura and Eric Fernandez. Cassidy, he won't be able to, he looks like he should be able to close to the back of this. He's all over, but maybe it's, oh, Munoz out wide. I was just about to say Cassidy, he looks like he's losing a bit of form to the riders just in front as Munoz made that mistake into turn number 4 ahead of Jorge Navarro. So Navarro, he is having transponder issues because we've got him down in 17th at the moment, but we know he's well and truly in this fight for the win.
So Munoz then recovers from going wide there at turn 5 and comfortably leading here. We've got Navarro just hanging on, as you say, ignore the timing screens because that is Jorge Navarro, the number 11, running in second place. He's already picked up a couple of P2s in 2024, but he wants the big one as we see the overtake for the race lead on the number 17. Dives up the inside of Navarro, brilliantly executed. He's been lining that move up on a couple of occasions, and Munoz, the rookie, finally makes it stick.
Yeah, clean as you like is as clean as a whistle from Danny Munoz. Jorge Navarro, now we're going to see what Jorge Navarro is made of. This happened in race number 1. Munoz got to the front, Navarro tried to go with him, but unfortunately Munoz couldn't quite hold it. As we see a change for third, almost Garcia later on the brakes, but he's coming under considerable pressure now from Oradri, and Sura and Fernandez are just off the back of that, with Cassidy lurking into the background as well.
Yeah, Oradre has finally caught Garcia, so it looks like a matter of time with 5 laps to go. It's a matter of time before Oradre can get himself into the top 3 here. Eric Fernandez isn't quite out of it yet. He's actually lapped quicker than, or Sura actually lapped quicker. Excuse me, it is Eric Fernandez who's lapping quicker than Oradre, and he's bringing Sura with him. But Oradre looks like he's going to get the hooks now into Garcia. Back out front, it's Dani Munoz who leads over Jorge Navarro. They come around into the finals, indeed into the 3rd sector, and through the kink at 9, and will come down the back straight. Navarro will not be close enough to make a move, but what about Oradre on Garcia? Is he going to opt for an inside line here? He pulls out of the slipstream. Oradre, he's not quite close enough. So, interesting battle brewing in Barcelona for P3.
Garcia just gets that bike kicked sideways to try and stop it on the entry into turn 10. It's incredible riding from the young Spanish rider. The 17-year-old, however, he's got a plethora of riders all over the back of him now, with Oradri and Fernandez. It looks like Fernandez is now starting to drop the Bosco Scuro riders. So the Bosco Scuro riders, who so far this season have taken 2 wins out of the opening 4 races. They're really struggling for pace here in Catalunya, as we might see a change for third. Powering down the straight, we're seeing the leaders for now, Munoz and Navarro, but further back, we'll keep an eye out on that. It's a flash into camera shot just behind these two, but Oradri was shaping up a move and hasn't made a stick. Garcia still holding it for now. He's incredibly strong in the brakes as Roberto Garcia on the 31 Fantic Cardoso racing machine, but this is just allowing Fernandez ever so slightly on the FAL 55T race, or TAY racing machine, just to catch up to them on the number 4 bike. He's chasing his first podium of the season, is Eric Fernandez, who's climbing all over the back of Oradri, who's now doing the same to Garcia, with Cassidy now in front of Sura. So we've missed that one. Cassidy is now the leading Bosco Scuro machine in 6th spot, so he's now trying to claw his way back after a tough start and maybe do some damage limitation on his championship charges. However, Chris, he's starting to see his championship rival Garcia coming back to him.
Yeah, a little bit of revenge there for Cassidy. Remember, Sura denied him the P4 finish, I think it was, in race 1, and saw him lose the championship lead. But another disastrous start for Cassidy means he will most certainly be well behind in the championship lead. Roberto Garcia running in 3rd place will pick up even more points over Cassidy and Sura. Dani Munoz, though, has very much entered into championship contention, as is Jorge Navarro, who's going to do back-to-back P2s. A long lap penalty then coming the way of Eric Fernandez. He is in this podium fight, but for how long? He will have to go through the long lap penalty loop for exceeding track limits.
Such a shame that for Eric Fernandez, isn't it, Chris, because he was showing so strong in this race, and it looks like he was about to mount a podium challenge. I wonder if he's been given the signal yet. No, he's pulled into turn number 1. The long lap penalty loop is on the outside of turns 1 and 2, and you rejoin on the entrance to turn 3. So you must go through the long lap penalty loop before the race is over to serve that, so he will be out of contention. Spinning, there you go, confirmation on the bottom of the screen, exceeding track limits. Eric Fernandez on the 4, looking up the inside of Oradri, almost tagging the back of the STV like Lee's racing machine rider just in front, and this is bringing Cassidy, the 2nd place rider in the championship, on the 40 Bosco Scuro machine. He's now in the podium battle, and he sees his championship rival 3 places just in front of him. Roberto Garcia on the 31, who is struggling.
Oh, we've got yellow flags at turn 5. This is where they're coming through. Have we lost?
You're right there. Well spotted there, Chris.
Have we lost somebody?
I thought that was going to be.
I thought it was Dani Munoz for a second. It's Jin Lee.
Yes, his teammate, Jin Lee, Gas Up Racing Team. So for a split moment there, my heart sank as I thought that was Dani Munoz that went into the gravel trap. But for now, Dani Munoz leads the way ahead of this gaggle of riders for battle. my goodness me, 4 riders in this, an 8-wheeler for 3rd spot, and they're all climbing over the back of Garcia. Garcia's doing a tremendous job so far in holding 3rd place with Radre, Fernandez and Garcia. Just remember your 3rd rider on screen there, the number 4 of Fernandez, has to come into the long lap penalty loop as Radre had a bit of a moment coming through turn number 13.
So around the final corner we go. Our race leader Danny Munoz has already crossed the line, but it's all about this battle for P3. Garcia putting on a defensive masterclass to deny Fernandez, Oradre and Mattia Casadei very much in this now as Fernandez lines up his long lap penalty move. He loses a place to Alberto Sura. He should come out ahead of Fernandez. I think he's got enough time in the bank to come out in P6 at the very worst. Yeah, it looks like that. So his podium ambitions are gone with just what, over a lap and a half to go here from Eric Fernandez, but the battle for P3 is raging on in Barcelona. Garcia currently holds off Oradre and Mattia Casadei. But for how long? Here comes Unai Oradre and he pushes Garcia out wide. Is Casadei going to pounce? He absolutely is. Oh, what's going on here for Garcia? He's out of the race. He's out of the race. He's stopped racing. Has the problem happened? Oh, well, drama here. Garcia is gone. Oradre now on the podium. And Mattia Casadei, what a Sunday salvage job this is turning into for the Moto2 World Champion. He started P2, he dropped like a stone off the line, and he has worked his way through the pack for P4. Will it get better? Or will Oradre find his first podium of the campaign? And I'm seeing an issue for, okay, it's Garcia. Yeah, timing screen's playing a trick on me with Jorge Navarro. It said he had crashed, but I don't believe he has.
Here we go again.
Here we go. Oradre, clean and fair, dives up the inside, pushes him wide, and then Casadei saw the door open, pushed him wide too. I don't think there's a whole lot wrong there, Liam.
No, not at all. It just looked like, well, he was hung out to dry a little bit by Oradre, was Garcia, and Casadei took his opportunity. You see, it was a Sunday salvage job by Casadei, but at that moment there, I think it was probably a Sunday surprise as Casadei saw his championship rival Roberto Garcia pull off the track. So disaster there for Garcia, who was your championship leader coming into this race. If it stays as is, Mattia Casadei will be taking over the lead of the championship once more. However, his job is not done yet. He is 0.3 of a second behind Unai Oradre as Jorge Navarro has been put back into 2nd spot on our timing screen. So the race for the lead is done and dusted, barring any mistake for Danny Munoz. It's going to be a Danny delight, a Danny double here in Catalunya if he can just stay on board his gas up racing team ahead of Jorge Navarro. But it's a battle for 3rd. We have to keep an eye on, will it be Oradre or Casadei to take the final podium?
He's
that was
the green
very
there.
close to the green, yes.
He's on the green.
Oh my goodness, and we don't want any more hearts and mouths moment from Danny Munoz because he's almost on the green again. Just take it easy, Danny. You've got a 2nd lead over Jorge Navarro.
Yeah, Munoz is on for a 2nd win here. It looked like he may have just glanced onto the green, but as things stand, there's no problems. The number 17 is on for the double. A superb performance from the rookie. Through the final sector we go. 2 corners to go on the final lap. Munoz is home and hose, but what about the battle for the podium?
We look at the battle for the podium, but we keep close eye on Danny Munoz. It's been a Munoz masterclass and brilliance in Barcelona for the number 17. He doubles up in Catalunya with his 2nd race win to make it a double here today, and Oradre holds on 3rd ahead of Casadei. Jorge Navarro in 2nd position, but Sura drops down to 5th position ahead of Eric Fernandez, Tagahada and Alberto Fernandez ahead of Mateo Rato and Johan Gimbert rounding out your top 10. But once more, Chris, Danny delight, a double up for Munoz. What a ride that has been, and your first rider of the season to take 2 victories, and he's done it in one day.
Yeah, back-to-back in Barcelona from Munoz. The rookie has awoken and a new championship contender has emerged in Catalunya. Absolutely sensational stuff from Danny Munoz. Well-deserved lap of honor here because today was something special from the young rider.
Indeed it was. When everyone else was losing their heads and losing their tires, Danny Munoz kept it all line astern. Oh, well, I say that, almost dropped it onto the green a couple of times on the final lap, but thankfully was managed to able to keep his head on to finish top of the pile once again, ahead of Jorge Navarro. That is 2 second places in the day. Waves to the crowd from pole position to P2. Not too bad, considering all things being considered for the Clint Forward Junior Team machine and Unai O'Radry. It's been a tough start to 2024 for the STV Leglise Racing rider, but he is overjoyed with that result, and he should be. Come on, he says. Vamos, Unai O'Radry. He will be back fighting at the front, you can imagine, in Portimao next time out, but he's back on the podium. It's been a tough start for him as Danny Munoz stops over at turn number 10, La Caixa corner, to celebrate with some of his fans. A star is born, you must say, Danny Munoz, a new championship contender, as Chris just said, your champion from Stock European Championship last year. Him and Eric Fernandez were a class above last year, and Eric Fernandez, if it wasn't for that long lap penalty, you can imagine he would have been in the podium battle all the way to the very end. However, the young Eric Fernandez, the young Spaniard, has to settle for 6th place, so equals his best result of this season. And looks like Danny Munoz had something he was holding. I wasn't quite sure what that was, or maybe he was giving the marshals the sign, I'm number 1, he says, but not quite sure what that was. However, he will be telling us he is number 1 when he speaks to Chris in a moment. It looks like he is holding something. I'm not quite sure what that might be, as he almost comes to a complete stop one-handed and almost set himself over the handlebars. Oh, maybe something's come off. It has done. Oh, it's a lollipop, actually. Maybe a chupa chup or something like that to celebrate his victory. So he's picked that up on the cool-down lap. Took me far too long. I would never class myself as a detective after trying to figure out what Danny Munoz was holding after his victory celebrations in race number 2. And this is how he did it. Down towards turn number 1 with 5 or 6 laps remaining. Up the inside of Jorge Navarro, as Chris quite rightly pointed out during the broadcast. He had shaped it up for a couple of laps. Looks a glancing left to Jorge Navarro, just making sure that he is well out of sight, out of mind, as he takes the lead before he crosses the line to make it a back-to-back in Barcelona. A Danny delight, as Danny Munoz produces a masterclass on Sunday in Barcelona. Thumbs up from Jorge Navarro. Maybe he was trying to offer Navarro a consolatory lollipop for 2nd place, but I'm sure Jorge Navarro, he's having absolutely none of that. He'll be laser focused on his next outing. But once more, Danny Munoz reigning supreme here in Barcelona, ahead of Jorge Navarro, Unai O'Radry, just missing out on the podium. Mattia Cassidy on the Bosco Scuro. However, with issues for Roberto Garcia, Cassidy retakes the championship lead ahead of Alberto Sura in 5th spot. Eric Fernandez, as we spoke about, long lap penalty for him in the closing stages. He dropped down to 6th ahead of Tagahara on the Gas Up Racing team. He was in 7th ahead of Alberto Fernandez, Matteo Rato and Johan Gimbert on Promo Racing. Marco Tapia, he got off to a good start earlier on in the race, but he dropped back out of the top 10 in 11th ahead of Lorenzo Fallon. Matteo Volpe, Eduardo Montero, he picks up some points after his crash in race 1, and Maxwell Toth picks up points in 15th. Just missing out in 16th was David Torrey and Charles Aubry on the JEG Racing number 9 machine. So 17 riders all finished in that. Their last DNF was Roberto Garcia. After holding valiantly Unai O'Radry off for most of that race, down towards turn number 5, O'Radry made an overtake on Garcia and hung the young Spaniard out to dry a little bit, and Matteo Cassidy took full force action of that, sat Garcia up, and then it looked like immediately after that happened, Garcia's bike just cried enough and out he went from the race. So not sure if it was cause of that or if it was a result of the mistake. But no mistake for Danny Munoz. He's down in Park Ferme talking to our very own Chris Jordan.
Danny, back-to-back in Barcelona and now a serious championship contender. How are you feeling after today's runs?
I feel incredible. Second race here in Barcelona and second win of the year. This race was most difficult because in the first lap it was difficult for me to pass the other riders, but finally I could. And I pushed so hard in the last laps to take a distance and will be perfect. Thank you to the team, to the sponsor and my family.
Y para todos que te vean en España.
Bueno, ha sido una carrera, bueno, estoy muy contento por la carrera, segunda carrera aquí en Barcelona y segunda victoria de la temporada. Ha sido una carrera más complicada, la que se me ha hecho más difícil adelantar a otros pilotos, hemos tenido una batalla así más divertida al principio de carrera, pero al final, en mitad de carrera he intentado sacar un hueco, apretar primero y bueno, lo hemos conseguido, muy contento con eso y bueno, agradecer el trabajo al equipo, a la familia y a los sponsors. Gracias.
Felicidades, gracias.
Well, Dani Munoz, you see him on the grid, doubled up, thumbs up from some fans to the race start of Moto2, with Navarro getting the whole shot from pole position, but it would be Sura swooping around the outside after a mistake from Navarro, and to turn one, he dropped down to fourth, but it was Sura leading the race the way from Munoz as he made an error, almost tagging the back of the Bosco Oscuro into turn four. Garcia made moves earlier on, he was challenging for the lead before Munoz retaliated into turn number 5. Turn 5 becoming the downfall of Garcia later on in the race. The number 4 of Eric Fernandez, he was showing strongly in the early stages, even fighting for the podium and looking to lead at certain stages. He made a move almost on Jorge Navarro into La Caixa corner, but it would be Munoz taking advantage of a slight error from Alberto Sura into turn number 10, but another error from Munoz coming out of turn 7 gave way for Garcia to chop up the inside. 8 riders in the leading group in the early stages made for a Moto2 classic here in Catalunya, with Fernandez making his moves on Jorge Navarro. Just seeing his rival from Stock European Championship just ahead of him, Fernandez tried his best but couldn't quite make it stick on Munoz as he eventually dropped back as Navarro started to fight his way through to the front. He took the lead from Garcia in the middle half of the race. Further back we had the Bosco Oscuros coming through the pack after Cassidy's disaster at turn 1 after running off at the start of the race. However, it was Navarro leading the way from Munoz before Garcia started to run into tyre problems. This move from Munoz, he wouldn't look back as he led from that moment on to lights out to the checkered flag as Fernandez made his long lap penalty. But it was this moment here as Oradre made the move up the inside of Garcia for P3. Cassidy took advantage of it, and then all of a sudden Garcia's bike cried enough. But it would be no such issues for Dani Munoz, back-to-back in Barcelona. Munoz masterclass once again here as he doubles up for victory, and he now becomes a Moto2 championship contender.
Gas Up Racing Team. Le donem la benvinguda a Luis Vega. Vámonos.
Luis Vega, the team representative of Gas Up Racing, he will be taking the trophy home for the team here today. The second time today they'll be taking the winner's prize. An all-Spanish podium once more in Moto2. Unai Oradre will be one of the happiest riders in the paddock after a difficult start to the season, almost jumping on P2. That's not quite the one yet. Maybe next time out in Portimao he'll be jumping on P2, but he'll be hoping for P1. But P2 goes the way of Jorge Navarro for the second time today. Important points, 40 points all round for the Clint Forward Junior Team machine. However, nobody could lay a glove on today's double winner, Dani Munoz, with the Gas Up Racing Team. So the president of FIM Europe, Mr. Jean-Marc Desnews, he hands over the trophy to Luis Vega, the team representative of Gas Up Racing. And once again, handing over the trophy to Unai Oradre, his first trophy of the season to add to his collection from last year. That'll be one of the most hardest fought to third places he would have had in his career. Circuit Managing Director Josep Luis hands over the second place trophy to Jorge Navarro. Some important points and his third second place of the season as he now builds upon a championship challenge. However, your champion from last year hands over the trophy from Senna Aegis, the Moto2 European champion, to Moto2 World Championship rider. Hands over the trophy to Dani Munoz. Could we see him in the World Championship in years to come? As we listen to the Spanish national anthem. Once more today, the Spanish national anthem rings out across the Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya. And for this time today, it will be the Prosecco dock that's been sprayed by all three riders on the podium in Moto2, giving their team a soaking down below, a sticky soaking, you should say, from the Prosecco. And a bit of a swig after a hard day's work for all three riders. And for the first time today, Unai Radrigue gets a taste of the podium Prosecco, as Munoz and Navarro have it for the second time today. Well, the riders will be posing for a picture in a second, and it'll be one to remember throughout the year, as you can imagine. Especially with Jorge Navarro and Dani Munoz, you will see plenty of them on the podium, but maybe for now, Unai Radrigue, now that he's got the taste of Prosecco once more, he'll be wanting some more of it throughout the rest of 2024.
So your results from race 2 in the Moto2 classes. Dani Munoz on top again, ahead of Navarro, with Unai Radrigue earning a first podium of the campaign. Mattia Casadei beats Sura to 4th, with Eric Fernandez placing 6th. Taiga Hada, Alberto Ferrandez, Mattia Rato all placing inside the top 10. Joan Gimbert picking up good points once again in P10. Marco Tapia beats Lorenzo Felon to P11. But Mattia Volpi came home in a lonely 13th ahead of Edu Montero and Maxwell Toth. Taking the checkered flag but missing out on the points are the Vittori, Aubrier and Roberto Garcia, who was mixed up in that late incident in the podium battle. Then Jinlen Li, Janan Inta, Harrison Vogt are among the riders who crashed out and failed to see the checkered flag. So Mattia Casadei is your championship leader on 82 points. Roberto Garcia, his late error sees him lose a lot of points and is 11 off the Italian. Jorge Navarro moves up to 3rd. Munoz, after 2 wins, is up to 4th. Sura in 5th, Hada 6th, Ferrandez 7th, Radrigue, then Eric Fernandez, while Mangiardo is inside the top 10. Following the Italian, it is Gimbert, Rato, Felon, Harrison Voigt, Marco Tapia, Mattia Volpi and Brett Roberts. While Ivo Lopez, Edu Montero, Kaito Toba, Maxwell Toth, Jacobo Hostrik and Janan Inta are the rest of your 2024 point scorers in the Moto2 European Championship.
Moto2 European Championship race number 2 is done and dusted. Moto2 will be back in action in a few weeks' time in Portimao. Can anyone stop the doubler Dani Munoz, who does the masterclass here today with back-to-back victories in Barcelona? But don't go anywhere. We've had 5 races down. There's 1 more to go with the Stock European Championship up next.